Welcome back. ChannelsTV.com has more information for you. You can also watch our videos on youtube.com/channelsweb. Don't forget you can watch us on your mobile device via your browser or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you news and updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 apps have an eyewitness feature with which you can share pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. All you need to do is install the app, tap and then swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions you see. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has asked the federal government to take decisive action to end what he describes as the ongoing ethnic cleansing in some parts of the country. He warns that failure to do so and the situation will degenerate into a genocide. Professor Soyinka made the call in a statement he issued in commemoration of this year's Workers' Day. The Nobel laureate likened Nigeria to an aircraft whose pilot had gone missing, leaving the controls in the hands of his family members. He noted that the country is in a terminal nosedive and urgently requires the intervention of the international community. On the killings witnessed across the country, Professor Soyinka asked President Muhammadu Buhari to order all land usurpers in the affected towns and villages to vacate the forcefully occupied lands within 48 hours. He says the president must order the military and the police to enforce this instruction. According to Professor Wole Soyinka, he says, and I quote, "It is not enough to back the anti-open grazing law so late in the day, but we shall leave that for later. Right now, the violated and dispossessed demand restitution and with no further delay or subterfuge. All available forces shall be deployed to right a hideous, unprecedented wrong that has left the nation drowning in blood. We simply cannot continue one day longer to endure this forceful feeding of human blood." End of quote. For the renowned playwright, the spectre of the Rwandan genocide looms over Nigeria, and the situation cannot be termed as anything else. Meanwhile, the Osun State government has already the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered an interim forfeiture of 2 properties liking to the wife of the former President Goodluck Jonathan, and that's Patience Jonathan. In a ruling on the ex parte application filed by the EFCC, the trial judge, Justice Nnamdi Dimba, dismissed Mrs. Jonathan in lacking merit. Justice Dimba also ruled that the order will only last for 45 days. He added that within the 45 days, the EFCC must conclude its investigation and charge the suspects being investigated in respect of the alleged crimes liking to the properties. The properties located in the Maitama district of Abuja are set to be held in the name of the Ariwa by Arura Reach Out Foundation, which Mrs. Jonathan is set to be one of its trustees. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had, in an ex parte application filed in September last year, asked for an interim forfeiture of the properties, which it claimed were subject of an ongoing criminal investigation. Our Lagos High Court has convicted a senior advocate of Nigeria, Dr. Joseph Nwobike, on 12 counts of inducement to prevent the course of justice. Justice Raliat Adebiyi, however, acquitted him on 5 counts of giving gratification and 1 count of making false statement. Dr. Nwobike was first arraigned on the 5-count charge on March the 9th, 2016 by the EFCC, which later amended the charges on different occasions. His rearrangement both times. In the charges, the EFCC claimed that Mr. Nwobike offered gratifications of 750,000 naira to Justice Mohammed Yunusa and 300,000 naira to Justice Ngajiwa, both the Federal High Court judges. Counsel to the EFCC, Mr. Rotimi Oyedepo, says the money was allegedly meant to pervert the course of justice, contrary to Section 97(3) of the Criminal Law of Lagos State. Canvassing final argument, Mr. Nwobike's lead counsel, Mr. Wale Akoni, had urged the court to discharge and acquit his client, contending that the EFCC failed to substantiate its allegations against him. As that, contrary to the claims by the EFCC, the 750,000 naira that Mr. Nwobike gave Justice Yunusa was not a bribe, but for the specific purpose of helping the sick mother of the gentleman. The judge has stood down the case for sentencing. Meanwhile, the Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola has now given the federal government assurances that it is working to end the insecurity, human trafficking and other problems. He made the comments at the Government House in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, while receiving the Oba of Benin and the Oni of Ife in his office. The Benin ruler's two-day visit to Osun State as part of his national tour to fellow monarchs and eminent Nigerians seeking to end the violent crimes and human trafficking across the country.
It's a two-day royal visit by a revered traditional ruler, the Oba of Benin, to Osun State in southwest Nigeria. He's on a nationwide tour to fellow monarchs and other eminent personalities in the country. His first port of call is the palace of the Oni of Ife, Obadeye Yogunwusi, where he also paid homage to all Benin kings believed to have been buried there. Both monarchs then moved to the Government House in Osogbo, the state capital, for a brief chat with Governor Rauf Aregbesola.
May I advise Your Excellency to mobilize your colleagues in the Governors Forum to fight the unnecessary and unwarranted killings in Benue and other places around Nigeria that have been affected by this menace of cattle herdsmen that seems to want to colonize Nigeria. We hope that this is a mistake in perceptions by some politicians. We pray that this will be rectified as quickly as possible so that Nigeria can have peace.
Some of the other issues the monarchs are concerned about are the killings in parts of the country and human trafficking. This is the governor's reaction.
The National Economic Council meeting we had on Thursday was devoted largely to that. And within the next few weeks, we will be seeing a reversal, a drastic reversal of the challenges we face in that direction.
The Oba of Benin's visit to Osun State comes 37 years after the last one made by a Benin king, Oba Eredua, in 1981. He's scheduled to visit other monarchs in the coming days and months as the traditional rulers voice out their desire to play a more active role in finding solutions to the insecurity in parts of the country.
Now, the idea of marriage has now been given a new meaning. We'll find out what that means when News Across Nigeria returns. Stay with us.